Bring this thing to order.
It's in order. This is episode 90. Let's go.
Welcome to the Ultimate Deck Podcast. Ultimate Deck Podcast. Helping you keep your finger firmly pressed on the decking industry, the people in it, and the information you need to master the backyard. And now, host of the Ultimate Deck Podcast, Shane Chapman.
Welcome, everybody, to episode 90 or 91, depending on what your app tells us, because we screwed the whole sequence up by doing a two-parter with Scott last week.
It's been really popular. Everybody really likes the two-parter. Seems
They
like
did.
it.
I don't know if it was the fact that it was two-parted or if it was just that Scott brought it with value that whole episode. Really brought it.
Like my intro.
Yeah.
I like that. I think that's going to be a good one.
What's that? Bringing this thing to session?
Order.
Or bring this thing to order.
That you turned the button on when I wasn't listening.
The guys who
I didn't know we were introing.
Yeah, no, I know you.
Blah, blah, blah.
You weren't stopping, so I just hit it and let's roll. So we gave a lot of value a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Last week softened the value a little bit.
Yeah.
No value today.
Yep.
No, this is like
zero value.
I guess it depends on what Bryce's questions are. There could be a lot of value here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Could be.
Or none.
But
Well, you'll have to listen right till the end, I guess.
what we're gonna do before that though is that on Scott's episode we talked about the fact that McDonald's had donuts, and we wondered if this was a worldwide thing, if this is a Canadian direct missile shot at Tim Hortons.
Well,
turns out,
Yeah, it could be.
Could be what?
They don't have them
Missile
in the
shot.
States.
Yeah, they don't have them in the States.
So
This
it's clearly
shots
a shot
fired.
at Tim
Shots
Hortons.
fired. And then Tim Hortons just down the street is closed.
Right.
Oh, yeah. Do you know why?
Yeah.
Because
I know
McDonald's,
why.
somebody from McDonald's coughed in their drive-thru on purpose.
Yep.
They COVID bombed them now.
It's espionage now.
They got the donut bomb.
Right.
They got the COVID bomb. It's like, when's enough?
Right?
It's a good thing I gave up Tim Hortons a month ago.
Yeah.
I just go to McDonald's now.
In case you're wondering,
Because it's better.
Bruce says there's also not donuts at McDonald's in Australia either. I don't know if anybody was wondering. And I think we assume that. Nothing gets there for years after it happens in North America.
I didn't even know they ate donuts there.
You have McDonald's there? Let's start there.
When the donuts show up, you guys are going to love them.
Oh, you're going to love them.
Donuts are so good.
It's funny to be, I don't know, maybe it's not funny to him, being the Canadian looking at Australia, being
Sure
like,
it
oh,
is.
do you guys even have McDonald's? Because we get that shit all the time from
All the time.
Americans.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys live in igloos? It's like, now you get it from us.
And they literally live on an island.
Yeah.
Literally.
We're next door.
Yeah.
Yeah. In a kangaroo's pouch.
Yeah,
That's where they live.
that's where
they
they
don't
live.
have houses either.
No.
Huts. They have little grass huts.
He's also still waiting for COVID. Don't worry. It's coming. It's thoroughly good. It's a good time.
So I guess we should get to the donut taste
Get
test.
to the donut taste test. So Bryce surprised us this morning, there's 5 flavors of donuts available at McDonald's.
More than a handful.
And he brought in all 5 for all of us here today. And so we're going to do the McDonald's donut taste test. Now, I assume that you're looking up the names of them because in audio format, this is completely useless if we don't tell people the names.
This one is good.
This dark one here?
It tastes delicious.
Yeah, start. Which one do
It's
you want to
so
start
moist.
with? I know that this one's called the Boston Cream, so let's start there.
That's the Boston cream.
No, wait, what was this one?
The maple one I had.
The maple one. So
maple-
you talk for a minute because you already ate your maple one.
Yeah, I didn't know.
On a 0 to 10,
Yeah.
how was your maple donut?
9, 8,
Holy smokes.
8, 9. So here's what I
That's
liked.
the best donut you've ever had.
No, it's not the best donut I've ever had.
Okay.
The first donut I ever had was the best one because then I'd never stopped eating them. But so good texture with the pastry. And I also like that the filling on that was not super, super, super sweet. It was like,
Maple caramel or caramel?
Caramel.
yeah, caramel.
Unless,
Cool move on
Okay.
how you didn't cut that. You just put that whole donut in your mouth. You can't do that at Tim Hortons because they're way too big.
but
These
is
are better.
it, so I'm caramel. My wife's big time caramel. If I say caramel, she looks at me like I'm weird. But I do say caramel if it's caramel corn.
Right. So yeah, it's either caramel or caramel. It's not back and forth. Caramel.
It's caramel.
Yeah, most.
But that's not true because you're composite. So
Yeah, but
You don't
I
stand too
forced
strong.
that long enough. We just talked about the white dude from that went to Nigeria and came back with an accent. That's me with composite. It's like I forced it long enough that it feels natural to me now.
right.
But anyways, it's still dumb.
Okay. So how was that?
Good.
1 to
That was
10.
a pretty
It
good
was solid.
donut.
That's 7 or 8, right?
donut. Yeah.
Like I really liked it.
You were 9, then you were 9.8.
No, 8-9.
Then now
Sorry,
you're
8-9.
8-7.
I was 8-9. I was 8-9.
The further removed you get from the experience, the more your points are dropping.
Yeah, well, that's how
I think
memory
you're right,
works.
though. I think the filling could have been like super overpowering.
But it's not. They
It's
did
not.
a really
It's
great
good.
job of it.
It's great.
Okay, here's a question for Bruce. On the Instagram Live that we have going right now, Bruce is from Australia. Do you guys say caramel or caramel?
And how would you
And
like that?
he also asks, is maple supposed to taste like caramel?
No.
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 I forget that a lot of people don't know what maple tastes like.
Right.
We've always had it.
Always.
And we live in Saskatchewan,
Saskatchewan.
the middle of Canada.
The middle.
There's no maple trees here.
Anyways, and so here's another thing. I think on TikTok too is there's like this trend that was going around for a while that was like basically Americans asking Canadians questions. We got 10 questions for Canadians, and then Canadians would duet it and
Number
reply.
1, bag milk.
Yeah, so most of the things were just Eastern Canada. Like it was like Ontario is the only place that actually bags milk. That's not a Canadian thing. That's a
We used to
Ontario
have it, though. You
thing.
used to have it.
Nope.
You've never had bag?
Nope.
I remember a time in Regina, you used to be able to get bag milk.
Was that back when they like delivered it to your door in a crate though?
Yeah.
So we're talking 30 years ago, 20 years ago.
How old do you think I am?
30.
I'm 30. I'm 32.
See? Nailed it.
Yeah. Oh,
Not so
there's where you're mistaken. 30 years ago, you were drinking milk from a bag.
Oh.
It was attached to your mom. There's the
At
confusion.
2?
Yeah.
Oh, I've seen.
Hey,
so I have some way older than that. I have
4
like
or 5 years old now, they're doing it.
friends that are like, oh, I got to run over to elementary school, give my kid a little milk.
Snack
Jesus,
time.
He's in grade 4.
Taking him an Oreo and some milk. You forgot the Oh.
Yeah, gross. Anyways.
So here we go. Shane, Violent Guys calls me Shane, the white Nigerian Chapman. So no, maple doesn't taste like caramel. Maple's its own thing. And to be honest, I'm not even a huge fan of maple flavored things. They're okay. But is
Take
that
his
anti-Canadian?
yeah,
of me?
take his Canadian
Yeah.
I
card.
have to turn in my passport now?
Would you get like butter flavored syrup or maple flavored syrup?
Well, maple syrup's a different, like on my pancakes,
Oh,
sure.
it's a different thing,
No,
is
but
it?
I mean like a maple donut with icing or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Not a huge, or maple candies, like they're okay.
That's fair.
Where was I going to go with this before that though? So, the Canadian thing on TikTok. So they ask all these things, and so one of the questions that they kept asking was, "Do you guys actually eat maple syrup popsicles?" And here's another one: syrup or syrup?
Syrup.
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 I don't
we
say
got one of
syrup.
each. Here we go.
Syrup. Maple
Why?
syrup.
But isn't it SYR?
I don't
It's
know.
not SUR. Sir.
Sir.
Syrup.
But Myrtle's name is spelled MYR, and it's Myrtle. I don't like. I don't even know what I say.
You're
anymore.
right. There is
Yeah,
no
now
value in this.
I'm lost.
There is no value in this podcast.
Yeah.
You're correct.
True story. So, anyways, do you eat maple syrup
Popsicles?
popsicles? And they're like, "Oh, yup." And I was like, "I'm pretty sure that only happens in Quebec."
Yeah, I did it once.
Have you
in
done
Quebec.
it?
I've never,
maybe you've
ever done it.
I've never ever done it.
I've
Either.
never even
did it
thought about doing it.
One time in Quebec.
It's like you pour
and
maple syrup in the snow, and then it it
Yep.
freezes it onto a stick, and then but like they're like, "Oh, that's so Canadian." No, that's 100
Quebec.
people in Quebec. that do
Eric.
that.
Yeah.
That's Eric. Is Eric in here?
I don't know.
Not yet.
Anyway,
So
not a super Canadian thing. That's not a good
so
noise right now.
early.
No, that's not a good noise. So anyway, let's get through the rest of these donuts.
Get through the donuts. We got sprinkles.
and then what? Then
Should
I'll
one of
leave.
us run down there?
I was like, I'll leave. You guys can do this.
I'll leave. I got good
Okay,
questions.
we're going to what's this?
Yeah,
one
but I'll
called?
come back.
Okay,
What's
go
the
check.
powdered one called?
Strawberry jelly.
Okay. Are you not going to eat the strawberry jelly donut before you go?
Eat it as you
I
go.
was going to.
Oh,
I was going to come back to it.
okay.
Oh, okay.
I should have waited for you then. I didn't.
All right. Strawberry jelly.
It's jelly.
I don't like that stuff.
Powdered sugar, sir.
You're shaking off the.
It's delicious.
That's part of the donut. You're reviewing the donut. You have to eat the whole part.
You could have probably ran down.
So here's the thing.
Not bad.
I don't like this one that much.
Yep. It's not as good as the caramel one was.
Right.
That's for sure.
It's also not as good as, is it usually a cherry filling maybe in the other one?
What the hell just happened? You just knocked off all the powder.
Yeah, but
saying
I
I don't
wanted
like
to
this
eat
stuff.
it.
Now you're eating it off the plate just with your finger.
So, because I don't like to be messy. It's not that I
I
don't
see.
like the icing sugar. I don't want it on my face or on my shirt. Right?
Gotcha.
And so I'm happy to have this.
Funny you don't have that same reservation about alcohol being on your face or your shirt.
Nope. Doesn't bother me at all. Okay, I gotta go.
Okay, go check.
Okay.
check
Are we
the
going to
store, I'll
continue
be
with our donut tasting here?
Yeah, let's do it.
Or are we going to do the worldly news?
Oh, we can do the worldly news.
You want to do that? While we wait for Wade to get back?
Let's do it.
Here it is. Hello, Mom. I'm working on something very, very big. Very important. You're going to be very proud. It's the worldly news. Here we are with the worldly news. I trusted that you had these ready.
Yeah,
Is
I'm
that
ready.
True? Okay, good. Here we go.
Okay, so typos spell trouble for man's alleged attempt to fake his own death.
Oh, boy.
So a guy faked his own death certificate and misspelled his own name.
Okay.
And
How do you... Does it...
he was trying to dodge a jail sentence.
Oh, I see. But don't death certificates... I always have questions with these stories. Don't death certificates have to be registered by somebody in the authority to register a death... Like, you can't just walk down yourself and be like, here you go, I died. I died last week. Or hand it in for somebody. Like, doesn't have to be done by the funeral home or, like, the... I don't know who would actually do it.
Yeah, but I think like maybe someone like gave it to his lawyer.
And his lawyer tried to register it?
Yeah. But there was
Well,
typos.
that's greasy. That's
Oh,
super
and
greasy.
the word registry was also misspelled and issued by. There were a few typos.
Wouldn't that hold the rest of the document? Wouldn't you just copy that from somewhere and then change your name? Why were you typing out the whole thing?
Because you're a guy who's already going to prison.
Yeah, not the brightest dude to start.
Right. So maybe-
Welcome back, Wade.
Hi.
You missed it. This last story was about you.
That'll happen.
Okay, here's a good news story. Vermont farmer returns prosthetic leg that skydiver lost during jump.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Tough to land that way.
You imagine that plopping down on your front lawn
Right?
one day? Damn, what was that?
Double amputee Chris said he initially didn't realize his leg was gone.
Didn't feel it.
Why? Why would you, right? Until you go to land.
It landed in the middle of a soybean field
Oh, yeah.
in Vermont.
Good. I haven't experienced that before, but
Nope.
What's the worst thing you've lost?
My thumb.
my dignity.
Your dick.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Like, I got nothing physical that I've lost on my
an easy
body,
one.
Fair enough.
but yeah, I've done some things that made my family unproud a few times.
My patience.
Yeah, that. I changed my answer. I lose that on a daily.
Okay. Stranded mariners rescued from island in Micronesia thanks to cliche SOS etched in the sand.
Hey, if it works, it works.
They were stranded for 5 days.
Well, why? Cliche or not, why wouldn't you do that? That's like the only thing you
That'd
can
be the first
do.
thing you would do?
That'd be the first thing I'd do.
I think I'd write a swear word in the sand first. A real big one.
Yeah, but then the pilot just laughs and keeps flying.
He's like, oh, look, somebody drove over there and wrote swear words on the sand.
Somebody wrote ass on the beach. That's funny. Anyway, on to Australia. I don't know. I feel like that's the first thing I'd do. I would do that, and then I would try to start the whole like smoke signal thing, I guess.
But
what else are you supposed
I'd
to
be
do?
building a house.
That's right. Build a deck.
Time to move in.
You know what I would actually do is I would lay down on the beach with my ass in the air, like in what is that called, downward dog position, and let the sun reflect off my white ass.
Yeah.
Right?
They'd see me.
Right. Have you seen that thing on TikTok about the perennial sunning?
No.
Perineal sunning?
Oh, that's a lot different.
Sorry, not perennial. Perineal sunning.
Yeah, I was like, the perennial sunning
Perennial.
happens pretty frequently, like every year,
Flowers
actually.
like that.
Someone made a joke on TikTok where if you sun your asshole for 5 seconds, you get more vitamin D than suntanning.
Is that how it was worded?
Yeah.
Or was it if you put your ass to the stars, you're likely to get the D?
Have you heard that one before?
I did hear that from somewhere, and I was like, this is
Not
come on,
true?
people. Like, you
wonder
shine your
how
starfish
many
at the sun
people-
and you wake up feeling fantastic. Like, that doesn't even make any sense.
How many people on the podcast do you think are going to try this? Because we got some guys in here that I think might try it.
They're outside all day, right?
Yeah.
There's plenty of opportunity.
It's 5 seconds. Like, really?
Okay, Mom, I'm working on something pretty big.
Okay, the last one. Drug related. Kitty drug mule flees high security Sri Lankan prison, and it's an actual cat. So this cat was
It's a drug mule?
it's a drug mule cat.
They put the drugs in the cat? Like
They attached it to its collar, and they would send this cat into the prison
Oh, yeah.
to distribute the drugs among the prisoners,
Awesome.
and it would do it.
It's like the St. Bernard.
Wouldn't you make the
Same thing,
cat
yeah.
swallow it?
TV
With drugs. It's pretty small.
Like
Why?
if they see the cat walking in with a collar and there's a little baggie, a little dime bag attached to his collar, it's not super non-suspect.
The guards would be like, oh, the cat's back again.
Yeah.
Right? 1.7 grams of heroin, 2 SIM cards, and a memory chip rolled into a plastic bag.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I thought the way to get stuff in and out of prison was to swallow it. I would put that down the cat's throat and wait for the cat to shit it out. That's how that's supposed to work.
It's much faster to just take it off its collar.
Yeah.
It's faster, sure, and cleaner.
Sounds like it was working for a while, too.
Apparently this
Nobody
this
ever
prison,
suspects
yeah.
the cat's going to be booking stuff in there.
Yeah.
They were trying to,
Okay.
the officers were trying to follow the cat back to the drug den in the prison, and then the cat just ran away.
Oh, so they were letting the cat go, trying to trace him to see where where the
And the
final
cat
destination
escaped.
was.
But the cat came back, right?
Yeah. Yeah, the cat.
Very next day was it?
Very
They,
next day.
they suspect that this cat has brought in like thousands of pounds of drugs. This one cat.
So how does the
so
cat get in?
good.
Under the fence? Over the fence?
I think they throw it over the fence.
Throw the cat.
I would assume.
Yeah, you don't
Cat's
wanna,
always land on its feet.
you don't want to get wrong in that.
That's not true. I dropped a cat once that didn't.
They got to be so high. You can't drop it from here. They don't have enough time to turn.
That's how I did it, too. I beat the Matrix. I didn't feel bad because it didn't fall far. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was like it only fell like 6-7 inches, but it was not able to get turned around fast enough. So
Okay, donut time. That's it for the worldly news.
That's it for the worldly
We got
news.
3 more
The
donuts to
worldly
try.
news.
Which one would you like to get on to next there, Wade?
this one.
We got apple fritter.
Yeah, apple fritter. That's what I grabbed. I have the apple fritter.
Apple fritter.
So,
Okay, so far the caramel was number 1 easily.
yep, not even close.
The powder coated strawberry donut was number 2.
It's last.
Apple fritter.
It's not bad.
That's a decent apple fritter.
It's a good fritter.
Very doughy though, right? I
Too
said this
doughy.
last week. It's doughy.
Too doughy.
Way too doughy. You know, what are those? Honey crullers. I hate those.
Oh, those are so good.
Yeah, because they're like half uncooked.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
weird, but they're so good though. Those are arguably the best.
The flavor on that is bang on. They need to cook that for like 1 more minute.
Yeah. But I would take that over the other 2 that we've had so far. That's my number 1 so far.
Whoa.
Yep.
Not mine.
You're
So
going
far-
caramel,
Yep.
then what?
Then fritter.
Then the fritter, then the strawberry.
Strawberry jam. I don't like strawberry jam. So it's unlikely that that one's going to win.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same.
I'm like, I love raspberry jam,
Raspberry
and
jam's way
cherry
better.
jam and stuff, but
Yeah.
strawberry is like, meh.
Okay.
Sprinkle time.
Sprinkles.
New England Deck Pros says the cat's got 9 lives, no parole.
No pearl.
Strawberry. So this one's just a basic donut with strawberry icing and sprinkles on it. Mm-hmm. That one's dry. Mine's dry.
Yeah.
Yours
This
will
one's
also be dry.
No good.
Is yours dry too?
Mine's super dry.
I feel like we got a bad donut there.
I don't know that I want to eat the rest of this.
I think that one, I've had that one before and I don't remember it being dry. I think we got yesterday's strawberry sprinkle donut.
It was fine.
That one's the bottom for me. It could have been up there, but too dry.
So do you guys like your Boston creams with pudding or
Oh.
whipped cream?
Either or, but whipped cream, probably better.
I feel like that's a real Boston cream.
That is. So I used to like the pudding ones more, I think, because that's how Tim Hortons does them. They have pudding in them, like custard or whatever, right? Mm-hmm. But Robin's Donuts has real whipped cream. So good.
So good. Much better.
Okay, we're down to the last one.
What if it was whipped pudding?
These ones have pudding. McDonald's went the pudding route on the Boston cream.
I like.
I've
the
always
top
called
more.
it custard until you just called it pudding. Now you have me calling it pudding.
They're the same thing.
Okay.
It's okay.
I'm getting hints of oak.
Really vanilla flavor.
It's pretty good. I'd prefer they use a different chocolate.
Yeah, it's not chocolatey enough.
It's too chocolatey.
Oh, really?
I think it's too
milk
dark.
chocolate.
Yeah, I'd prefer more towards the milk chocolate than the dark chocolate that just was.
And so I like dark chocolate, so I like that one quite a bit.
Okay.
So if you had to buy 6 for your crew, what would you buy?
An assorted pack.
Just to start.
Yeah. Keep it simple.
The one you hate gets the sprinkles.
Yeah.
The dry sprinkles.
That's how you
boy.
can tell your staff
So how
who
would you
your
rate
favorites
these?
are.
How
You'd
would
be
you
like,
rate these?
and you get the sprinkle one, and you get the jam one. Okay. The maple
Oh, that's your number one, hey?
maple caramel, number 1.
Yep.
Then the Boston cream that we just had.
Okay.
Then fritter, then jam, then sprinkles.
Okay. I think I would go. I'm underrating that caramel one in my mind. It was actually really good.
It was excellent.
The caramel one was the best.
Yeah. I might have to. I said before that I would take the fritter before that one. I don't know if that's true. So the caramel one was really good. I'll give that one number 1. Fritter number 2. The Boston cream number 3. The sprinkle one, strawberry, number 4, and the strawberry just plain one was number 5. Only because it was dry.
No, strawberry sprinkles was dry.
Strawberry
and
sprinkle
jam was 4.
Sorry, jam was 4 for me, and strawberry sprinkle was 5 because it was dry.
Yep.
If it was not dry, it probably would have been arguably a number 3 even, but
Yeah.
for sure a number
What?
4.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think if that fritter was cooked a little bit more, the fritter would have been
fritter
at the
would
top.
have been way better.
Flavor
Yeah.
was all over.
Fritter's 3 for me. Caramel, Boston cream, fritter. Strawberry jam,
Yep.
and then
Sprinkle.
sprinkles.
Bryce and
Sorry,
I
what
just-
were your top
Bryce
3
and I
then?
have it the
Sorry?
same.
Caramel,
Caramel, Boston cream,
fritter.
fritter.
There you go,
Top
folks.
3.
If you're going to do any, because we all agree what the top 3 are, the order might have changed, but they were the same top 3. So if you're going to go to McDonald's and get some donuts, you're going to get the fritter, the Boston cream, and the caramel. Is it maple caramel?
Don't get
Yeah, it's
anything
maple.
with, yeah.
Maple
Don't get
caramel.
any of the strawberry stuff.
Don't get the strawberries. Okay, let's get on with the show. What we're doing today is we're having a Q&A from a homeowner's perspective, and the homeowner happens to be Bryce.
Do you own your
Bryce,
home?
I do.
Bryce
on it?
has. Do you have a deck on it?
I do.
Do you need a new one, or is it good?
It's probably good.
Okay,
It's been a while.
we can change that.
I mean, Mike built it.
Decked out, Mike.
Yeah.
Better have a look at it.
It's pressure treated.
Yeah. Okay, well that's good.
Okay.
Best builder in Regina built your deck. One of the best builders in Regina.
So my first big question are: what are the top 3 questions that every homeowner should ask any contractor they're getting to work on their
Oh,
deck?
that's a really good question.
No, it's not.
You only have 3.
You want to know why? We asked him. This is hilarious what he just did here.
Well, I've been
Ask
wanting
us
to
a
know
question.
for weeks.
No, you asked me a question.
To ask us questions.
Yeah.
And his question was, what questions should I ask you?
Ask me a question. Yeah.
I find this hilarious.
That's why it was really good.
This is the best, like,
He broke the matrix right there.
yeah. That's the best playback, like, screw you and your little game and get me to do the work. I'm going to put this right back in your court right off the top. So sorry, the question again was, what 3 questions should every homeowner be asking?
Their contractor.
Their contractor.
So it's like you're gonna evaluate your contractor. What do you need to ask them to know that you have a good contractor? Is that what you're after?
That's exactly what I'm after.
He answered a question with a question and now wants us to answer his question with the questions. This is
Yeah.
perfect. So what 3 we should ask a contractor? Okay, I think I would, like, one of the first things I would ask would be about the contractor himself. I think
What's your favorite beer?
But I think before you even get to the point of talking about your deck, the first 2 questions should probably be about the contractor and his abilities and experience. So I would want to know most about him. If we're talking about the first meeting, I'd want to know, like, are you insured, registered? How long have you been doing this? And do you have some, like, examples of your work or some references?
Portfolio. Yeah.
So, like, word them how you want, but my first 3 questions would be around that, learning who this guy is, because what you put on your deck is secondary. Who cares if it's, like, well, Trex would care if it's Trex or whatever. But,
No,
like,
but
who
you can
cares if it's
you can
Trex?
put treated and it can look amazing. And a treated deck by a good builder looks better than a composite deck by a shitty builder.
Correct. Yeah, you need to weed out the builder before you start choosing your material.
Products.
Not before, but the first questions to the contractor should be about him.
Yep.
Or her.
Or her.
The business, or whatever, to make sure that you're hiring somebody good.
Okay.
And then you can go through the details
So
of...
insurance?
Yeah.
Time in the industry?
Yeah, some, like how long you've been doing this, your experience. Yeah.
And then portfolio.
Some references or some work that you can see, whatever. And I would want to make sure as part of that you have the ability to verify this stuff somehow. So I don't want to be like, how long have you been doing this? 17 years. Oh, sweet. Okay. Like there needs to be a paper trail of his history. Like you need to be able to look him up and see that he's got like a Facebook page or a website with reviews or something. Like there needs to be some sort of stability there.
Yeah.
But if it's a contractor and you're first meeting him, the questions before you ever get to what do you want the deck to look like and what materials do you want to use needs to be about the guy you're talking to and hiring, because maybe he's not good.
Like the insurance one is one that I've never thought to ask until we started talking about it on the podcast.
I wouldn't be afraid to ask about the payment schedule either. Like, how is this going to, like, let's get it out there. We all know I'm paying you to build this, so let's not skirt around this thing. How do we plan to put this all together? Am I giving you half up front and then half when it's done, or is it like 25, 50, 25, or like what's the schedule? So
do you want to know what the top 3 questions people are going to ask though?
Okay, so yeah, let's hear it.
The first 3 things they're going to ask are, when can you do it?
Yeah.
What's your schedule? How much is it going to cost?
Yeah.
And I don't know what the third one's going to be.
Can I save some money?
Can you do it for cheaper? That'll be the third question for sure.
For real?
How much is it going to cost? I don't know. I'll have to get you a quote. Oh, can you do it cheaper? I haven't even given you a number yet.
Yeah, but when you do it, then just make it cheaper.
Just understand that no matter what number you give me, I'm going to ask you to do it
Go
cheaper.
real high so I can come down.
Yeah. Start up and low. So...
do you own a track saw?
And do you own a track saw?
Do you own a track
That should be the first question. 100% agreed. First question. That's a good one though.
Yeah.
But I think the point of the story is vet your contractor first before you start worrying about the details of the project itself.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Whatever the questions are, they should be about.
And you can also get a read on the guy's character during that. You know what I mean? It's like you have to work with this person for a month, 3 weeks before it's all over. So you might as well have somebody that you enjoy visiting with.
Correct. First question. Who did you vote for?
Ooh.
Right?
Justine.
Right there. Right there, you might know if you can send the guy packing or not. Okay.
Okay.
Wonder if the next question is going to be a question about questions.
Mm-hmm.
What is the best time of year to call for a quote?
October.
The earlier the better is the short answer to that one. I would say if you haven't called by...
Mine was late.
But you're planning for the next year.
Yeah.
If you want a deck built in the spring, you should be making those calls like no later than kind of January, February. Because on a normal year, of which this was not, but on a normal year, a lot of the good builders are booked up. Like they're going to start building in this market usually around April, start of April. In some warmer markets, it'll be March, whatever. But in other markets, they don't stop. But if it's in a market where you do have a down season, you want to get ahead of when the season's going to start by a couple months.
Yep.
So
2 months.
If
two
we're
months
talking
before the season starts is a good answer.
Yeah.
Do you think that'll improve the quality of your deck because it'll be the first deck out?
No, I think good builders are going to give you a good product regardless of when they build it. But you're right. Like, I see where you're going with that.
Yeah.
By the end of the season, they may be burnt out and tired and just want to get the season over with kind of thing. But the good builders aren't going to let that affect the quality of their work, I don't think. Like, no matter how tired I was never then becoming okay with lesser quality work because it was later in the year. Like, the guys who understand the result and impact of doing good work are not going to change their attitude about that just because it's been a long year kind of thing, right?
That's fair.
I think the answer is not May and June.
Not May and June.
Right.
That's when people start thinking about it is the problem.
It's over.
Right.
You're
so
done
that
by
is
then.
the problem.
Weather changes.
Right. Spring hits and then people think about what they want to do. But the problem is there are some people out there who don't wait till then. And those guys, they get built first. So if you want it built in the spring so you can enjoy it all year, you need to be one of those people that's ahead of the game. Because on a good, 3-4 years ago, if you called a contractor in April, you were probably getting scheduled for at best June, probably July. So you were already you already missed half the summer because you didn't call until spring was here. So it is what it is. This year you would have got lucky because everybody was shut down and not a single contractor hardly built a damn thing till just about May.
Right.
Yeah.
And then when you called them, it was like, yeah, I haven't even started booking yet, so I'm only 2-3 weeks out. So you got lucky, but on a busy year, 2-3 months.
Okay. Do you need a permit on every deck that you build? No. That's it?
Yes. Next question.
It's like
What's the
city rules.
It depends. If you're talking about Regina
Regina?
or Saskatoon, which are our markets, the big misconception is I'm just replacing my existing deck, so then I don't need a permit. It's
Right.
the same
It's the
size,
same
same
size,
whatever.
yeah.
That's 100% false. You do need a permit if you're replacing your deck. The only time you don't need a permit is if your deck that you have was already permitted at some point, and you're just replacing the boards on it.
surface.
The surface of like the deck boards. If you start tinkering with the framing, new permit.
The structure.
Any size too?
Yeah, the short answer to that is yes, because unless it's under 32 square feet or under 12 inches off the ground, then you don't need a permit for those things. So if you have a 200 square foot deck that's sitting on the ground, it's only 8 inches off the ground, you don't need a permit for that. That's just considered a patio. There's nothing to fall. It's on the ground. Or if it's 32 square feet or smaller, which is basically a stair landing, you don't need a permit for that.
8x4.
Even if it's above 12 inches, you don't need it if it's under 32 square feet
For a stair landing?
for a stair landing.
Like if you're coming off the front of your house and it's 32, like if it's 4 feet by 8 feet, I'd build it 4 foot by 7'6", and then you do not need a permit because it's too small. You're not going to have a whole bunch of people in there.
It's not a deck, right? It's
What about Halloween?
maybe
Right?
some chunky
You
monkey
guys
kids up there.
You don't turn your lights off at Halloween?
Nope.
Oh.
And then in Saskatoon, the rule is different. I think Saskatoon is 48 square feet and 8 inches off the ground. So same rules, but different numbers. But if it's a new deck at all, it doesn't matter shape, size, or if there was a deck there before, if it's above those parameters, you need a permit.
Which leads into my next question. What is involved in the permit process? Meaning, what does the homeowner have to give to the contractor or you guys to make things go smoother?
He's got some good questions. These are some helpful ones.
Yes.
Am I answering this one?
I don't know why we would change now.
Well, I felt like I always was. I thought maybe you'd want to step in here at some point. Okay, so most commonly, the first thing we ask for is the surveyor certificate for your house. So we want to see the survey that you would have been provided with your house. This, shockingly,
It's hard to track. I don't think I could track mine down.
right? I do actually know where mine is only because we bought a new house and you get your portfolio and I know it's in there. But in my previous places I've been in, there's no chance I knew where that surveyor certificate was.
Yeah.
But people always come up with it. They're clearly well more organized than I am, but they always end up finding it. So, but if you don't have that, at least, and again, this is something, if you're listening from other markets, you got to check with your local building department because it'll be different. 100% it'll be different.
Yes.
But here, if you don't have that survey certificate, that's fine, but you need to go map out, basically need to survey your property yourself then. You need to go out and like mark your lot boundaries, mark any buildings and accessory buildings and structures that are there already and how, like the distances between them, and they need you to basically create the surveyor certificate, but they're okay with it just being a hand-drawn map of your yard.
Yeah, because to get a surveyor certificate, if you can't find it, then to have a survey company come out and actually give you a surveyor certificate, it's like $600 or $700, right?
15.
$2,000, yeah.
15?
15 minimum.
Yeah.
Why? Like,
I was going to say a couple grand for sure.
yeah, awful.
So he would know the answer to that question
yeah.
pretty well. He left a surveying company
I
to
used
get
to
here,
work at a
whatever.
survey company.
And apparently, according to Bryce, your surveyor certificate that they provide only legally valid for 24 hours.
Yeah.
really?
Yeah.
So the city doesn't care about that. You can pull out a surveyor certificate from 1968. They're like, good to go. Ground doesn't move here.
Yeah.
So anyways, that's the first thing we ask for because that just makes the whole process easier. Then nobody's got to go map out the yard. It shows the buildings, it shows the property lines, it shows everything. It shows any easements typically on a surveyor certificate. So
Those
you
are
need to know
important.
that.
Yeah, you don't want to encroach upon your easements. You need to know.
They need that. In our markets, you also need a signed application from the city. So that's the only pieces. If we're going to do the permit on the behalf of the customer, then that's all we need from them. Get us a copy of your surveyor certificate and sign the application. We can fill out the rest. If you're doing it yourself, the process is fill out the application completely, provide that surveyor certificate, and you basically have to draw your deck shape and size onto that, and then provide the measurements from that deck to the side property line, the rear property line to the garage, like everything around it, how far it is from everything. Because there are rules, like in Regina, for example, even without easements, you have a 3.5 meter setback, rear yard setback at the back that you have to abide by, and then a 4-foot setback on the side of the house too. So you have to be within those things first of all, and then they need drawings. And so the application package asks a whole bunch of questions about just like your personal information, your property's information, and then about the materials that are going to be used on the deck. And then you have to provide drawings of the deck itself, pile locations, pile spans, beam size, beam locations, shape of the deck, joist material you're using, how you're attaching your ledger, your railing style you're using, what type of decking you're using, your stair rise and run. Like you have to draw all this stuff in basically a bird's eye view. Yeah. And then they want, so that with all that information, the type of material you're using, and then they also want the elevation view as well. From the side to show that how high the deck's going to be and so on and so forth. So they require those 2 drawings, 3-ish drawings. I started including like a railing plan as well now, even though they don't really ask for that. But, and then what? Then that's about it. It ends up being like a 10-page package. By the time you get your application, your surveyor certificate, there's probably about 4 or 5 pages to the application, a couple drawings.
It seems overwhelming too when you see it. Like for a homeowner, basically if somebody just showed you the package that you were about to put into the city, most homeowners would be like, holy smokes, like I don't have any idea how I would come up with that. How do we put it all together? But really, it's not that complicated, No,
and they're not that strict about things. Like they want all the information on there that they want, but the application package has instructions on what they're asking for specifically. But they'd be okay if you drew it on this paper plate.
That's crazy.
And handed it in.
Yeah.
And as long as you had all the information they want too, right? Like it's not like anybody has to have any.
Yeah, you don't have to get an architect to draw it. It doesn't have to be. Yeah, it does not have to be in a CAD program. It just has to be like
legible, the information that they're asking for.
Yeah, and it has to be accurate, right? It's like if you're going to use a 2x8 beam, make sure you put 2x8 beam. Probably the hardest thing for me is that the city still wants everything in metric.
I was just going to say, the biggest catch for a homeowner is going to be like, they want it in metric though. So
for here, yeah, which is really silly. Everybody
build it imperial, but
yeah.
Yeah. And then, so if the deck ends up being above 6 feet tall, then there's some extra stuff that needs to come into play. Then you need like engineered foundation plan. So then it gets a little bit more pricey and complicated.
So does someone from the city come out and check after?
Yep.
They're supposed to.
They're supposed to?
Yep. You're supposed to call in for a final inspection. Here they stopped doing a framing inspection.
Yeah, they did a framing inspection, right?
Yeah. Some markets you have to get a pile inspection, framing inspection, final inspection. So you drill your piles, they have to come out and check and make sure the hole's deep enough and what you're doing with your piles before you can proceed to framing. And then you frame the deck, then you have to call them back, get a framing inspection before you start decking, and then you call them back at the end for a final. But here they're pretty relaxed about that. Now we just require a final.
So with them doing all that checks, does it put any liability on the city?
No, there's actually a comment in here right now. So the first comment was, can't fill an inspection if you don't pull a permit. So that's a great point too. That was from, I think that was Chris, CM Boost. TC Deck says, and if you comply, it passes and the deck falls off the house, city's not liable.
Which is such bullshit.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That makes me so mad.
Because then
as mad as Shane without a track
oh yeah. check. All done.
So, and that's what they do. I have honest to goodness, I've been on site when the inspector rolled up to the backyard, opened up the clipboard, looked at the paper, looked at the deck, and was like, "Those are 2x8 joists? No, they're 2x10. Right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. 2x10. Check mark. And then it looks like you got a beam there. Yep. Check. Okay. Have a great day." And they left. It was like, didn't check ledger connection, didn't check hanger fasteners, didn't check midspan block, didn't check like nothing. They checked nothing. They didn't measure the rise and run. They didn't measure the space between the spindles. I was pissed. I was like, get under there and check those things, right?
So, well, I feel like as a contractor, you should be really trying to figure out a way to document the fact that they were there and really didn't check anything, because then it'll blow back on you.
It blows back on you regardless. It doesn't matter. Even if they crawled around and inspected the snot out of that thing, it still ends up on you.
Right.
Because the city is like, we're not liable for all this stuff. And it's like, Yeah, but you should be. That's why I paid for the fee. That's why I called you to come out. So this is on you. And if you don't want to take responsibility for it, then don't have the step.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Let me build whatever the hell I want to build.
It's very administrative and more about data collection than it is about
You don't
actually
think that
safety.
governments are just all administrative, do you?
No.
Stupid bureaucracy.
I was tired. I didn't feel like going there.
Didn't feel like going for that one?
No.
Okay. So, not considering dollars, this is about material now. Not considering price, what are the benefits of wood over composite decking?
Benefits of wood over composite.
Yeah.
Not
Because we
including
always
price.
talk about composite.
None.
It's cooler. It's cooler.
Are we talking about
It's
just
cooler.
like pressure treated? Because there's different types of wood, right? You could be like softwoods, like pressure treated pine or spruce, and then cedar or redwood, and then there's hardwoods.
Guy, he's talking about like pressure treated and cedar.
I'm just clarifying.
Wood. I didn't know there was more
Because
than
for
one
somebody
type of wood.
There you go. Somebody from down in Florida would be much, or Australia would be much more familiar with building with hardwoods than they would be with building with treated or cedar.
Are you from Australia?
No. But all the wood that I've used has come from IKEA, so
Oh, you have Swedish wood.
yeah.
He's not from Australia, but the people that are listening are. They're from all over the place, not just here.
2% of the people.
So, assuming we're talking about softwoods that are most common here, then like the look and feel of natural wood.
Oh, okay. There's no other. Okay, I'm just
It's cheaper. Some people would
but
think
you
it's more
said-
beautiful.
Yeah,
but
you said we're not allowed to use cost.
not allowed to use cost.
So I like it because you can change the color of it. A composite deck you could never change. It couldn't be like really rich brown one year and then kind of a red the next year. Unlikely that anybody would ever do that, but you could.
yeah, if you change the siding in your house, maybe you want to change the color of your deck, and that's possible.
I think you'd have to put up the siding on your house, wouldn't you, Shane?
Yeah,
Oh boy, this house is sided. The
house is no
garage-
problem.
Sorry.
If I built a deck on my garage,
Is that what it
we'd have a
was?
problem. Listen, that's been done for 2 years now. Just took 2 years to do it.
I like it. It's actually cooler. That's true. I just looked up the
But
heat
it's
test the
not
other day.
much, like-
it's not much cooler, but
it's
it is
this-
cooler.
Yeah,
Would you guys build
It's
your
less
decks
slippery.
but not enough to, I think, to have that being a benefit. Like if it's 35 above, the wood was still hot. It was the same
Yeah.
same
60.
temperature as whitewashed cedar from TimberTech, which is the coolest.
Yep.
Was like whitewashed cedar from TimberTech, and then one of the mochaccino from Moisture Shield, whatever. We're
I just
tied
looked
for
it
like
up the
the
other
coolest composites. But the I think those are 63 point something, and the treated and the cedar were 62 point something and point something.
Yeah.
They're like half a degree difference. So it's you know.
I did my deck out of Winchester Gray from Trex.
Mine is composite cottage. Fibron cottage.
Why'd you guys go with those specific boards? Just cause, or were there benefits because of them?
Versus other composites, or
Versus
what?
other composites.
Budget and color.
Budget and
was,
color.
Yeah, mine was price point.
Just wanted a lower cost one and wanted a gray. So
If I could do it all over again, I would change that deck. I'd put something different on it now. But when we first did it, we had just bought the house, and like everybody who just buys a house, you're piss poor. You have no money left, and so I just wanted the cheapest gray board I could get because I couldn't afford the other one.
we have a comment. Yeah, that what like if budget was not at play, there's for sure nicer boards than Fibron Cottage and Winchester Gray.
Right.
Like you go to anybody's high end boards and they're beautiful.
Even if even just to stay with Trex, like say I had stayed in the same company, I probably would have done Island Mist.
Yeah.
It was a fantastic looking board, super durable, right? But at the time, that board was, it's $2 a lineal foot more.
So
And I got a pretty big deck.
that leads into my next question.
Hold on, before you get there, we have a comment from Precision Construction. It says the building code specifically states that the building department isn't liable. They can interpret code, etc., but nothing is their fault. Best protection for a homeowner is vetting, like you said.
Yeah. That's it.
So right in the building code. The guys who are there to enforce the building code, not liable for the building codes.
I think
of-
the
What's the
next time I
point
have
of
an
all this?
inspection, I'm going to tell the inspector to get off my property. I'm like, I don't value you or your job at all. Please get off my site.
Yeah.
Because it makes no difference whether you check this or don't check this. It's all on me anyways.
Bad engineers
Bounce.
do the same thing, don't they?
It'd be like if the airports didn't screen anybody and just be like, do you have a bomb on you? Nope. Sounds good. Get on. And then they blow up the plane.
Right.
And they're like, wasn't our fault.
Wasn't our fault.
We screened. Like, but you didn't really screen. You just had a place called screening with no screening equipment.
Not liable.
Yeah.
That's and we're again talking about our market because I know that other markets, they are a lot more pickier about like the thoroughness of their inspection, but still not liable, regardless of how thorough they are. But here it's like,
That's
you know what I'm
crazy.
going to do?
That's so crazy.
People always ask me what I'm going to do in my retirement. I'm going to get that changed. I'm going to get the inspectors liable as I get older.
TC Dex says,
Go time.
wood doesn't heat up and burn your feet as bad as composite, right? And like,
It's still hot. If you
I would say not
rich,
really.
If you stained
Like,
it a
technically.
rich, dark color, it would be hotter than whitewash cedar. If you took normal
if you-
cedar
yeah.
and stained it like a walnut color, it would be hotter than whitewash cedar.
yeah.
So it's all color based.
To provide some context to my wishy-washiness on not giving an answer, the reason for it is because we did these heat tests and we have to do them again this year. We got to find a hot day because I want to redo them all now that we have some new products in the store and whatnot.
running out of time.
Yeah,
But we are
missed
running
our
out of
hot
time. And so those tests we tested, I don't know, 30 or 40 or maybe more composite boards from every brand, light, dark, PVC boards, concrete, wood, hard, like softwood, hardwood, cedar, pressure treated, all of it. We tested, there was probably 60 boards that we tested and just see how hot they would get. The temperature on the day that we did it was 42 degrees Celsius,
41,
which is 109, 110 or something like that. So it was a hot day. And the results, the coolest board that we tested, I think was 62.3 or 62.7 degrees Celsius.
You don't have to keep thinking. I'm looking it up. It happened on April 5th and it's on our Instagram page. I looked it up yesterday.
We reposted it on April 5th.
April
Maybe?
5th of 2019.
Okay. I was gonna say we didn't hit 42 on April 5th, 2018.
Not this year.
Anyway, so 62 point something was the coolest, and that was, I believe, treated or
Maybe it was
cedar.
August 5th.
I think cedar was at like the 62.7. They were like right beside each other.
Yeah.
The hottest was 78 point something, and that was Fibron burnt umber and Clubhouse ironwood, which are one's a dark brown and one's a dark gray. So the woods were 62 points, whatever. The coolest composites were in the 63s, and that was TimberTech whitewash cedar and Mochaccino from Moisture Shield Cool Deck line, which is why I also like to call bluff on that whole line because they claim it stays so much cooler. And yes, it was one of the coolest, but
Right.
not by a margin that they're making you think with all their marketing they're doing behind it, at least in the stuff that we tested.
April 5th. Yep. Here you are.
And then everything else is in between them, between 63 and 78. But most of the composites are in that kind of 68 to 70 range. And so the average composite is going to be in that 68 to 70 Celsius range when it's 42 out, which is like really hot. And the wood's at 62 something, like that's also really hot. It's 5 degrees difference. They're both really hot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
41 degrees. Brown treated, 61. ACQ, 63. Mochaccino, 63.6. Cedar, 64.5. Legacy whitewash cedar, 64.6. It's like,
You'll have to do a touch test though. Like that's really, in my opinion,
you can't tell the difference.
you can't tell the difference. You don't think?
You can tell touching them. Like on my own deck at home, because I've got Clubhouse Ironwood, which is one of the hottest ones, and then I've got Fibron Cottage, which was I want to say around 68, like somewhere in the middle, 68, 70. Is that right? Because I think we tested that.
Fibron Cottage, 71.5.
71. So the difference on that hot day and Ironwood was what, 78?
73.5. Hottest was 74.1.
Oh, so it wasn't even as high as I thought it was. So on the hot days, there's only a 3 degree difference, I guess, between my two colors in my deck. But if I put my hand on it, I can feel I can feel a difference.
Do you think we should
they're
be
both hot? Is my point.
We should be giving Fahrenheit in this as well.
Like if you touch the stove when your burner's set to level 10 on your dial versus level 8, you're burning your hand both
Right.
ways.
But it's how long can you hold it there? If I got to run across the deck.
Right. Yeah. So anyway, so yes, there's differences. Yes, technically on paper, wood stays cooler, less hot than composite, but it still gets hot is the point, I guess. Because when people say cooler, you're implying that it's like, like cooler is just a bad word to use with anything that sits in the sun. Nothing stays cooler.
No.
Not even my
Ice.
drink.
Not even your drink.
It's warmer. So there you go. There's no advantage to building with wood over composite. I don't think that's true. I like wood quite a bit.
We have a question in here.
I mean, so does 80% of the market.
Yep.
AZ- says he didn't know it gets that hot in Canada, and
I think
I'm
that
here to tell you it does
down
here and
now.
there.
I think that's just like a cost. The reason,
Yeah, it's just a cost.
I
thing,
believe
right?
I believe the reason 80% of all decks built are with wood is cost, not because people love it.
Yeah, because if somebody actually really likes the natural wood, but it's not a budget play, they're probably not using treated anyway. They're likely at least going to use cedar, or they'll use a higher end heart. Like now that there's that thermy,
Yes.
like heat treated stuff that's out there, you could use ash, you could use oak, you could use whatever kind of wood you want, or you could use the traditional hardwoods like the Ipe's or
Red blouse.
blouse or Homeowner or
Yep. Moringa.
there's a lot of different ones you can use if it's not a budget reason. So, and people do. There's some of those people out there. We had a customer a couple years ago. They ended up doing the Moso bamboo, but the wife of the couple was like, I'm not going to do composite. I hate the feel of plastic. I don't want to walk on that. I can't. She tried because it was like, well, here's what's required to do this. She's like, I don't really want the maintenance, but like, I just can't. She'd take her shoes off in the store and she'd walk in them. She's like, nope. And so they went wood, and it wasn't priced at all. They bought a wood that's as much as the composites are. So some people just don't want plastic.
So what other type of, like, other than like bamboo and hardwoods, what other unconventional materials can you use on your deck?
Before we get to that one, Precision, Scott says, when the wood, he's trying to guess at a reason to use wood. He's like, I feel like he's saying, I'm going to read it like I'm reading it in my head. When the wood rots out, you can run it through the chipper for mulch. Like really reaching for a, so sure. Unless it's treated, and you're not supposed to put that in the ground.
Yeah. Was there a few questions above that? Yeah, there was.
I thought I caught them. Oh, yeah, I was going to read Spa Bananas here. So AZ- said he didn't think it got that hot in Canada. And yeah, like between June and September, you can get some pretty toasty days. Like it's as hot as anywhere in those months. It's just that it gets equally as cold in the winter.
Yeah, Saskatchewan has the highest temperature
Swing
flux
temperatures,
in
right?
the world. Yeah.
It can be 100.
It's like 100 degree
easily
swing.
Through summer, and then in winter, like if I'm talking Fahrenheit, then it's like minus 30 in
Minus 40
in
is like,
winter.
Yeah.
Is that because
40
is it a
Fahrenheit.
minus
There's
40,
a
it's
spot
equal?
where it
They
hits
tie,
equal.
yeah. So it goes minus 40, and then it can be as hot as, I believe that we've hit like a 104 or a 109 this year.
But this is also like it's no different than the States. The temperatures that Hawaii gets are a lot different than the temperatures that New Jersey would get, right? Like we're in Saskatchewan, we're harsh, to your point, gets very hot and dry in the summer, gets very cold and dry in the winter. If you're from Vancouver, you don't see snow very often. It's 80 to 90 in the summer and it's 70 to 80 in the winter.
Yep.
But wet.
But rains 200
all
days a year, right? Like it's very moderate, humid climate there.
Yep.
And if you go to the other coast, or you go to like Southern Ontario, well, it's more like us, but it doesn't get as cold as we get, but it does get as hot. So it's all over the place. Spa Banana says, thanks again for all your folks' advice. Went ahead with TimberTech Reserve Driftwood. Ended up being the best color and texture for us. Have you folks done any installs on the Reserve collection? No.
We sold one though.
That's a brand new in this year. We sold a couple, I think, but it wasn't jobs that we were involved with. It was just a homeowner that bought it and did it themselves.
It looks great.
But I mean, it's the same profile as any TimberTech as far as install goes. There's nothing different with it. Yeah, looks great.
Yeah, it looks
great
good.
texture, great colors, good board. That's all I got to say about that.
So what other unconventional? Oh,
Okay,
There was one about the terrain. Yeah, there was one about terrain.
like TimberTech.
Oh, right there. Go up a little bit. Right there. Just read. See how they have the words under
what
the name?
was the temp for Vintage Line? Is that the one?
Yeah.
What was the temperature for Vintage Line? I'm sure we probably. Ooh, Vintage was that out when we did that?
So you have slate gray.
It might not have been out when we did those tests. That was it, because Vintage came out about.
Vintage. You did dark hickory.
No, Vintage came out
So you
in
did
2017.
You did dark hickory, and it was 70.3 or 158. And so, like the temperature outside was 41 or 106. And the board tested at 70 or 158.
So 70 degrees for dark hickory as compared to Clubhouse driftwood, which they're both dark gray colors. Actually did stay
Ironwood. Clubhouse Ironwood.
Clubhouse Ironwood, yeah.
So, and then Clubhouse Ironwood was 73.5 and 164.
So a 3 degrees Celsius difference. So the AZEK did stay a little cooler on a color that's very similar, although Ironwood's probably a hair darker. But
I would have liked to have seen that in Coastline, not the dark one.
but there should have been a light one from that line too. Or did we just choose a different, it wasn't vintage at all, maybe? The problem with that though is that there's this constant claim that AZEK stays 15% cooler than other PVCs, and I've never seen that.
AZEK Harvest is
Like you can give them 5%
coolest.
based on that test there.
Yeah.
5% maybe. But again, like I said, the color is just a hair darker, so it's probably not even that. 15%, I've never seen that.
Nope.
And Moisture Shield's claim 30%, not a
Nope.
chance.
I had a girl, there was a lady that came in yesterday and was like, what about this cool deck technology?
Yeah, it's called the hose.
I explained it to
Seriously.
her. It was like, yeah, it's too bad.
Yeah, seriously.
Did you guys find any, like, I don't know how you guys tested it last year, but did you notice that boards would get hotter faster?
No.
Because that would seem to be like a really...
So we would
just
have
put it out in the yard.
we would have the data to potentially to do that. Maybe not, because we tested them at 3 different times because we wanted to make sure that they were like what those numbers are averages of 3 tests about a half hour apart. But we put them out there early in the morning, like probably like 9 o'clock, and we didn't test them until something like 2 or 3 in the afternoon. So we let them really like sit out there
Let
and
'em cook.
gain traction. So the first test would have been well after they were all heated up. So no, we didn't test how fast. My thought is that they probably like between the different types of material probably doesn't make a huge difference. The color obviously will. The darks will get hotter faster, I would think. But they will cool off at different rates because like composite, for example, is very dense. It holds heat.
Right.
And whereas PVC is cellular, it's got a lot of air pockets in the middle of it. It cools off almost immediately as soon as it's in the shade. So it doesn't hold and radiate the heat for as long. So, but we didn't test that with numbers. That's just how it is. We know how it's.
That's
how it
just
goes.
how it is.
We said so.
And now you know.
So, AZ Dash. So not much difference in temps between AZEK PVC and their composites. No, not the actual temperature in direct sunlight will be very similar.
Yeah, so they're like their legacy line, we tested at 64.6. So it was like the lightest one.
What color was that?
Whitewash cedar.
Yeah.
But we didn't test the mocha. You know what I
Right,
mean?
okay.
It's a color play. It's not a line play.
It's mostly it's color. Yep.
So then would it be potential that the ones with the grooves in the back?
We're gonna have to restart this Instagram.
So sandy birch, which has the scallops in the back.
Yeah.
And that is a TimberTech composite in their entry-level line. Sandy birch is a really light color. It was 70.6 degrees. And AZEK vintage, like a full 1-inch
board.
profile, dark color was 70.3. So a full dark PVC was cooler than a scalloped light composite in their same line.
Oh, that's interesting.
Same in the same company, right? So AZEK 70.3, TimberTech Sandy Birch 70.6.
The moral of the story that we took away from those tests when we did them was everything gets hot in the sun. Was the first one. There's none of
real?
them. There's none of them
yeah.
that stay comfortable when it's 42 degrees out. When
They're
it's
all too hot
When
to
it's
walk on.
110 out,
Yeah.
your deck's hot. Period. Doesn't matter what you're using. Is there a difference between colors, light and dark? Yes, there is. But again,
Is it significant enough to make your decision based on that? No.
No.
Buy
after this, we started telling people just like, 'cause
Buy the
when
deck you want.
And they'd be like, oh, we really like this one, but we're worried it's going to get hot because it's darker. And we just started telling people, pick the color you like because you can change your color and on paper it's going to be cooler, still going to be hot.
Yeah,
So,
you're worried
pick what
that
you
your
really
kid's
like.
gonna have like their feet will be hot. And it's like, yeah, buy them shoes.
Yeah.
It's all hot. Yeah.
Install sprinklers on your deck.
Yes.
If it's over 90, put shoes on when you're on your deck.
Yeah.
That's the moral of the story. It doesn't matter what color it is.
Yep. Okay. Other materials.
Unconventional deck materials.
Yeah, there's some tiles. So we carry Deck Tech tile.
And are they worth it?
Can you twerk?
Yeah, that's right. Put your thing down, flip it, and reverse it.
I didn't know all the words to that part. Yeah, we've got the Deck Tech tiles. They're a concrete tile with a fiber mesh layer in them, so they're very strong. They install on standard framing, so which is like there's other tile systems out there, but they're expensive, or you have to beef up your structure to support them because they're heavy or something. But the Deck Tech is actually fairly slick. It installs on 16-inch center framing just like any other deck would, so it's kind of neat. Is it worth it? I don't know. That's a matter of perspective, I think. It's
Some people have thought it was.
a unique look. It looks awesome. When you see a deck done with it, it looks awesome. It's expensive. So it's more expensive than any comps that we have in the store. Like we're looking at about 20, I think it's $23 Canadian a square foot for it. And the most expensive comps that we'd have would be like $16-17 a square foot.
Yep.
So there's a premium to it for sure. But if you have the budget for a premium material and you want something that's a little bit unique and different than what everybody else has in their deck, then it's a great option. And it's also a good option for where we really like them too is inside of screen rooms, because screen rooms are these funny like purgatory rooms where you feel kind of like you should have interior flooring in there, but it's kind of outside. So you feel like you should have decking, but it's not really outside. So decking feels weird too. And people are like, I don't know what type of flooring to use, like vinyl from my inside or decking or whatever. So these tiles are a good option because they give kind of like, they're an exterior product that kind of looks like tile inside your house. And so it's a good transition material to use, I think. We've seen some people do it inside of screen rooms and it looks awesome.
Looks fantastic, yeah.
They're pitched so they drain, so the water doesn't pool on them. So they've got a slight slope, like they're concave a little bit.
Yeah.
That, I would say, bamboo, I think I would call that a bit of a unique product. Like the engineered bamboo is a little bit different. The end result is that it's very similar in performance and feel and look to real hardwood trees, but I would call that an alternative material because it is an engineered product.
Some people use those deck tiles, right? It's like what are they? 12-inch or 16-inch by 16-inch little tiles, and you alternate them. We don't sell those, but they do exist. They do sell them. I personally don't love it. I don't think they're that amazing, but.
Yeah, you're starting to see some now, and the results are not good usually, but some people do use like a troweled on rubber resin epoxy type coating on top of plywood, but there's some products out there now that claim that they're really good. We've seen a lot of those systems fail, and they end up at our store with like leaking roofs because it doesn't hold up in the sun. Either the coating cracks along seams or something and starts leaking. There's some rubberized ones now. They're supposed to stay flexible. That should probably help. But jury's out, I think, on that a little bit because they're fairly new. Some people have put just like ceramic or porcelain tile in their decks. You can do that.
Yeah.
Like they're okay with the elements. The struggle here is the massive expansion and contraction of the materials because of the temperature swings, which often results in cracked grout lines or cracked tiles. But if you do it properly and you really like get after it and you use like an epoxy grout or
then it still cracks.
You need like a pliable grout that maybe can move a little bit, but it's just
it doesn't work here.
Not a great option here.
Okay.
So, but if you're down in somewhere that has super consistent temperatures all year round, sure.
Tile is awesome. Yep.
Last question. How do you feel about track saws?
Gimmicky.
Pass.
They're gimmicky.
Pass.
I can cut a straight line without it. I don't need one.
There's a Facebook comment again. Some guy made some comment about a track saw.
It's going to be like you're going to go down on your tombstone. I'm going to have to get like...
Some guy posted a picture because he had done a track saw cut. I don't know if he just got it or what, but he's like, nailed this cut perfectly straight with my track saw. What do you guys think or something? And all these people were commenting, of course. And so I went in there just being sarcastic and was like, waste of money. Like I've been cutting straight lines. Snap a chalk and cut it. I've been cutting straight lines for 48 years or something ridiculous. Complete waste of money, and then left it. And then some guy replied, he's like, tried to justify his use of the track saw or whatever, or like teach me or whatever. And I was like, dude, I'm totally joking. I don't know who all listens to the podcast in here, but you know my stance if you do on track saws. I was joking. He's like, oh, I should have picked up on it when you said 48 years you've been cutting straight lines or something. So question in here, Simcoe Deck says, I don't know if this is a question or a statement or a request for us to test it, but temperature difference between deck boards with wood joists versus steel joists. So I think that'd be interesting to test. I don't know if there'd be a difference on that.
Why do you think that'd be interesting? Do you think there actually would be?
I don't know. But the surface temp of the boards wouldn't change, but does what's underneath,
like residual heat,
right? Like
I don't have
the steel,
my kitchen pans aren't made out of wood. They're made out of metal, right? They get hot.
Yeah, but I don't know that the deck gets exposed to that type of temperature.
I kind of doubt it would, but the other thing that some people have questioned about our test is when we test, like how we had the boards laid out. And we had the boards laid out basically on lifts of lumber. So they weren't spanning over top of a joist with airflow beneath. So some people were like, well, is there residual heat buildup from what they were sitting on that would have affected the results? Maybe. So the next time
we're all doing it together.
They were all correct. They were
At least it was fair.
They were all consistently laid out that way. But would the results have been different overall in the numbers if we had them like spanning across so that there was airflow circulation around the whole board? Maybe. I don't know.
But I think
next
they
time
all
we
would
do
have
it-
been lower, right? Like if anything happens,
potentially,
every one
Consistently
of them
lower,
is just consistently
Yeah,
less.
you guys weren't testing how hot your deck gets at 42. You were testing how hot they are compared to each other.
Yeah.
Right.
Right, like-
we want to know is there a brand that we sell that we
microwave
can
them all.
legitimately say stays cooler?
And it was
That was
wood.
the point.
And it was wood.
Because at the time too, when we were carrying Clubhouse, and I think they still use this, they have a marketing term called cool pigment technology in their boards. Cool pigment reflects the heat. It tested out at the Ironwood is one of the hottest boards that we tested.
But sandstone was one of the coolest.
Right. So does it have anything to do with their cool pigment technology? No, it has to do with that one's really dark and one's damn near white.
Right.
Right. So it's like, it's just a color play again. And were their light or dark boards any cooler or hotter than other people's light or dark boards? Not really. There was
Nope.
between PVC and composite, not much of a difference. Between brands, not much of a difference.
There you go. NFD.
So
National Fence. Yeah.
any big differences between different brands? So no, that's exactly what we were saying right now. There didn't seem to be any difference between brands. And that's why we continuously fight people on this whole, for one, the Clubhouse Cool Pigment. I don't even know if they use that anymore because it's
Probably because you
Proved them wrong.
well, and maybe like who knows? Maybe before they use this cool pigment technology, maybe their board gets a 78 instead of a 73. Maybe it helped their boards, but that's not how people's minds work. When you say this has cool pigment technology, they think, oh, it stays
It's like
cool.
walking on ice cubes. I'm going to get this deck.
So like, and I'm a marketer. I'm a guy with a marketing background and a passion for it, but I just don't agree with using terms that can be taken the wrong way, and that stuff is.
Yeah.
And now it's not Clubhouse. Now it's Moisture Shield with cool deck technology, and they're showing at their every trade show. They got the heat lamps out blasting boards, and yeah, there's a major difference there under the heat lamp. But in our tests under the sun, there wasn't really that much of a difference. Like, yeah, their lightest color board was one of the coolest we tested, or maybe it was the coolest, but it was by points of a degree. It was not by 30%. So we'll test them all again. We'll get those boards back in the cool deck. We'll put them up on a more realistic staging area, like sitting across two 16-inch on center planks. All the boards, put a little air gap between them, make sure that they're getting air circulated, like give the most real to life installed on a deck application. Pick a day that's at least 90 degrees outside and do it all over again. And let's see. And now we've got some brands we didn't have before.
Maybe we could do it over at the other yard and we could get like the vendors to pay for a month's rent.
Now you're getting creative with how we can cover that lease we're still waiting. Yeah, so that's that. So I'm eager to do that. I've been thinking about it all summer. We need to find the time. We need to look at the weather, find a day, and get this planned and get it done. Because October's going to be here, and we're going to be out of 30-degree days and
Getting cold.
yeah, it's
Then we'll go hunting.
Precision, the steel man expert says, theoretically, the steel should be cooler as a steel frame deck has less thermal mass than a wood frame. But by same token, steel frame would heat up and cool off faster.
Exactly. That's what I thought.
That's what I
I
wondered
thought there
too.
would
It's
be
like-
no difference.
Big old void in it. It's not solid material. I thought could help, maybe, right? But you also know that you can cook an egg on the top of a steel hood of a car
Yep.
any day.
But it's also covered. It's also covered the whole time, right? Like it's not like there's
It's
any
not in the sun.
exposed.
Correct. Yeah, it's
Steel.
not getting direct sunlight. So it's
But neither is
ambient
the wood.
temperature only. So
Yeah, I don't know. I think that I just thought the steel would be warmer. Like I thought a steel joist Sorry, I thought decking on top of steel joist would be hotter than decking on top of wood.
Well, let's test it.
I think
We're gonna have to
part of
test
the
it.
test.
Because I do think if you left steel and wood out in the sun, the steel will be hotter to the touch for sure.
Yeah.
But ambient temperatures is a different thing. The moisture shield test under the heat lamps proves to you that ambient temperature is a different thing from being in direct sunlight. So TC Dex asks, when is Trex going to catch up with demand? I don't know the answer to that from the whole market, like all of
I
North
think
America.
it's like winter. I think this is ugly until next year sometime.
It could be. Our distributor specifically has 4 Trex trucks rolling in the next 4 days. And so they are seeing some relief from that. And I don't know if that means that every Trex distributor in the whole continent is going to see some more material right away, or if it's just like, if it was their turn in line to get the 4.
Luck of the draw.
Who knows, right?
It's going to be a while. I think it'll be a while before
This is a
everybody
whole-
gets their coffers stocked up again.
This is a
right?
whole year problem. Everybody's been saying that as far as lumber goes and composites and everything. Everybody's saying like expect these delays all year.
Yep.
It's not over in September.
And imagine like Fibron, they turned off their fascia plant.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, you're not getting fascia from Fibron until next year. So when do they catch up? Next year.
Next year.
Yeah. If that,
not
like
this
who
year.
knows when this whole swing stops. Like no, everything is very unpredictable right now.
And then everybody stops building decks next year.
I hope not.
No.
Yeah.
Okay. That's it.
Productive episode?
Not bad. Yeah. Had some donuts. Ready to go sell some stuff now. So I think we're out of questions on the Instagram as well. So that's it for us. I got nothing else to add to this. You? Get
No,
out of here?
nope. That's a
We'll
lot
start the
longer
day.
than I thought it was going to go.
Yeah,
But we did give it a half hour to nothing at the start. 22 minutes of
I
donuts.
don't know if crushing donuts is nothing.
It's important.
It's a good way to spend
nutritional.
the start of the day. Okay, that's it
not
then, folks.
nutritional.
Thanks for tuning in. As always, if you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, go do that. The Ultimate Deck Shop YouTube channel. Bryce is pumping stuff out left, right, and center there. So take it easy. We'll see you next week.
You've been listening to the Ultimate Deck Podcast. Ultimate Deck Podcast. Brought to you by the Ultimate Deck Shop. Shop with us at www.ultimatedeckshop.com or check us out at all the social networks we can keep up with. Hit us up for any collaboration or sponsorship opportunities. Thanks for listening.